All right. Well, good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to today's briefing. We're going to provide a recap on the storm response here in the city of Long Beach, and I want to just start off just by expressing my gratitude and saying thank you. Thank you to our incredible city team on their storm response. They've been working around the clock for the last 3 days, monitoring the storm, conducting critical frontline work to ensure the safety of our community, and in the week prior, preparing for this historic storm. I spent much of my day yesterday out checking on some of the rescue crews and firefighters and public works employees and volunteers from our CERT teams and all across our city, our public health workers, our homeless outreach workers, to really understand the enormous task that they had in front of them and the excellent public service that they demonstrated. I met with the incredible team of Swiftwater Rescue lifeguards and our fire department who rescued the 19 sailors this weekend. They're standing with us today. We're very proud of their service. I want to thank our residents and community members for taking the call to action to take this seriously, very seriously, and they were proactive in preparing for the potential impacts. And with this collective effort from our city team, our volunteers, our residents, we were prepared for this storm and we met this moment. I'm thankful to say that we experienced very limited impacts to city services, our roadways, or our properties. Let's talk about the weather. First, we've experienced historic amounts of rainfall here in Long Beach, about 10 inches total. That's a lot of rain. That's about 2.5 inches of rain during the first storm in February, 2 inches on Sunday, about 3.5 inches on Monday, and another 1.5 inches just yesterday. Now, keep in mind, this was historic rainfall for our area. We typically would get about 3 inches of rain for the entire month of February, and in less than 1 week, we tripled that. So that's a lot of rain for our local system. This is a significant amount of rainfall, and because of this, we did see some localized flooding in some areas, and the saturated soil combined with high winds downed some trees throughout the city. So city crews continue to address reports of downed trees throughout the period and mitigate any potential impacts. In preparation for and throughout the storms, we engaged in critical emergency planning and communications. We activated our Emergency Operations Center. We stood up a mobile command post at Vet Stadium. We operated as a unified command across multiple city departments. We coordinated with the county to share intelligence and regional efforts and planning. And we connected with our local schools and our local universities as well. We also kept our community informed with a lot of outreach, and many of you helped us with this. We activated a central communications hub on our city's website. We issued public notices via Alert Long Beach. We used our text alert system to provide shelter information to individuals experiencing homelessness in Long Beach. We shared more than 165 social media posts across city departments. We issued communications to local and regional media. We conducted dozens of press interviews. We conducted a live stream briefing over the weekend to remind residents to prepare ahead of time. And as a result of these efforts, most city operations continue to operate normally, and even during peak periods of rainfall. Our libraries remained open. Our regular services continued at City Hall, while our airport and port continued normal operations. We did have to cancel some street sweeping, and El Dorado Regional Park and the Nature Center were closed and remains closed. And I would also say that, as we mentioned earlier, our emergency response structure played a vital role in minimizing the impact of these storms. So we had frontline personnel in public works, 60 folks working across public works to really make a difference. We had our fire department, homeless services, parks and rec, people working in our emergency operations center and on our incident management and control teams. These individuals played a critical role in keeping our community informed, prepared, and safe. We also had an enormous effort of volunteers with sandbags. We had over 80,000 sandbags available to our residents and activated additional sandbag distribution site at Veterans Stadium. We activated an inclement weather shelter at the multi-service center to provide an additional 60 beds for our residents experiencing homelessness, shielding them from harsh weather conditions. We fortified protective sand berms along our shoreline, a mile-long wall of sand, about 9 feet high and 9 feet wide, hauling about 850,000 cubic feet of sand, while also continuing to address core services. We conducted daily inspections and performed maintenance to ensure catch basins are in our flood-prone areas were clear of debris, and pump stations and seawall plugs were functioning throughout the period. So this is just a snapshot of a lot of the activities, and our colleagues will go even further into detail on some of these activities performed by city staff for the past few days. Again, I want to thank everyone involved in these efforts and thank all of our city departments for keeping the city of Long Beach safe and operating smoothly over the period of the last few days. And as with any storm series, there's the preparation, there is the response, and then there's the recovery. So in the next few weeks, you're going to see us continue the work we've already begun with picking up down trees and tree branches and palm fronds and beginning the work of patching up infrastructure like potholes that you'll see. That typically takes a few weeks to get through that entire work. So the cleanup effort has already begun, and we're going to continue that effort. We're going to make sure that all of our arterial corridors are free of debris. We're going to be working with our neighborhood associations to do cleanups and clean up parking lots and marinas and all these areas, just to name a few. So as the rain subsides, we will resume our mostly normal sunny weather in Southern California, and we're going to utilize that sunny weather to get our community clean and tidy. And I want to remind our community that emergency preparedness is important. It remains at the forefront of our priorities of city services, and we all had a role to play this past weekend, and I think we demonstrated what can happen when we all really come together with one single mind and focus on keeping our community safe. And so with that, I want to introduce, we're going to hear from 4 city leaders today. We're going to hear from Sandy Wedgeworth, who was our incident commander through the emergency. And she helps manage our regional distribution center, which is one of the largest in the state of California of any city, which gives us significant capacity to respond in an emergency. We're going to hear from Eric Lopez, the director of Public Works, who managed a significant crew who worked throughout the entire weekend on storm drains and pump stations and preparing and acquiring new mobile pump stations. We're going to hear from our fire chief, Dennis Buchanan, who under his shop was the swiftboat teams and the lifeguards under his shop, and Allison King, who is the acting director of our Department of Health and Human Services, who led a lot of the incident command efforts as well as our homeless outreach efforts. So that said, I'll now pass it on to Sandy Wedgeworth, our incident commander. After this, we're going to have interpretation in Spanish and Khmer, and then we'll continue with any additional questions. Sandy?
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you for highlighting this important work and for checking in on some of our crews that have been working the front line. I am honored to have served as incident commander in response to this historic storm. And I'm grateful to work with such dedicated and talented cross-departmental staff who truly care about the safety and well-being of our community. From our city leadership and emergency operations center team to our incident management team and the crews in the field, we have done an incredible job. That includes preparation, management throughout, and the cleanup efforts. It's important for our community to know that we take emergency management very seriously. Although we wish emergencies would never happen, in reality, they are inevitable, so we must be prepared. Over the last few years, we've been tested time and again, whether it be the pandemic, the threat of a hurricane and other abnormal weather events, such as a storm, or big societal challenges like homelessness. And we have learned how to mobilize quickly, bringing in talented people and important resources to stabilize situations and support our community. And speaking of our community, I want to thank all of you. When it comes to extreme weather conditions like this storm, we are most successful when we all work in tandem. We asked you to be prepared, and you stepped up. You came out to collect your sandbags. You stayed off the roads during the heavy winds and rains, and you also volunteered to support the efforts and helped your neighbors. We appreciate you. We are crossing our fingers for some perfect 70-degree weather in the near future, but regardless, we remain ready to serve in challenging times. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sandy, for your incredible leadership during this emergency. Next, we're going to hear from our fire chief, Dennis Buchanan.
Thank you, Mayor. I thank you, everyone, for coming out to beautiful Long Beach. Over the last few days, the men and women of the Long Beach Fire Department worked diligently to respond to calls for service throughout the city. The Fire Department activated our Department Operations Center, and we assisted in filling key positions within the city's incident management team. The Fire Department worked with the California Office of Emergency Services to pre-deploy our 17-person river flood rescue team to conduct patrols around the city in areas that have been historically vulnerable to flooding. In addition, that was the first time that our river flood rescue team was pre-deployed in our city. This is a huge accomplishment. By pre-deploying this robust resource in our city, it allows this regional asset to respond rapidly and initiate life-saving intervention in a highly specialized and very dangerous environment. This danger is ever present in our community since the LA River, the San Gabriel River, Coyote Creek, and Los Rios Channel run straight through our city. Earlier in the week, our river flood rescue team was pre-deployed to the north section of San Diego County to assist as well. Our city swiftwater rescue teams were out in force both prior to and during the storm as they patrolled our flood channels and responded to other calls for service. One of their missions was to support and assist individuals experiencing homelessness to seek out additional sheltering options to keep them safe, warm, and dry. And this was done in partnership with the Health Department. Thank you, Allison King. And our marine safety rescue boats played a critical role in saving 19 individuals that were stuck outside of the Long Beach breakwall after their large sailboat lost their mast and went up on the rocks. This was an amazing rescue that certainly highlights the tremendous skill set that our marine safety personnel possess in challenging and difficult situations. We are grateful for the assistance provided by a Good Samaritan who utilized his boat that also assisted in the rescue. Our firefighters respond to calls for service to include minor area flooding, traffic accidents, wires down, and a couple structure fires, in which they mitigate all hazards that they encountered. They did so in a manner that truly reflects the professionalism of our personnel. Our department, in partnership with the Health Department and Public Works, we activated Long Beach City College Veterans Stadium so that resources were readily available to support the community. This location was selected because it provided large footprint that allowed us to maximize our drive-through distribution of sandbags to those in need. Over the course of 3 days, thousands of sandbags were distributed from this location alone. Each of these bags were already filled and loaded into each vehicle that pulled up looking for support. These sandbags were filled by hand from city personnel, volunteers from Long Beach Search and Rescue, from the Long Beach Police Department Explorer Program, our Community Emergency Response Team, and our Medical Reserve Corps. This is truly an example of neighbors helping neighbors. Even our seasonal lifeguards were activated to provide additional support and assistance down at the Claremont lot and 72nd Place with sandbags. These are areas that are historically vulnerable to flooding and experienced flooding during the first storm that happened earlier in the week. There is no question that both citywide preparedness and personal preparedness played a critical role in our ability to weather this historic storm. Timely response to areas throughout the city was key to preventing small problems from escalating to larger situations. This is truly an example of working together to serve. Thank you.
All right, good work, Chief. And I'll tell you, we could totally see the difference setting up that incident command center and the mobile operations center at Long Beach City College. And it is great that we have our own independent fire department that does its own training, ready to respond in case of an emergency. You never know when those things are going to happen, but we did see a scary situation, and our lifeguards here in our fire department stepped up and made a meaningful difference that saved a life. So thank you and to your entire department. Next, we're going to hear from Eric Lopez, who managed a whole lot more than people think about. A lot of times, public works, people don't know all the work that it takes to just keep a city functioning, pump stations and storm drains. And they demonstrated some excellent, incredible public service this past weekend. And so let's hear from Eric Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you all for joining us today. As your Director of Public Works, it is a great honor to lead a department of over 600 dedicated employees that are committed and ready to serve no matter the challenges that are presented. Among our management team, we like to say that Public Works is always one of the first to respond. After PD, fire, there are Public Works crews in many scenes, yet we are always one of the last to leave. When emergency occur, Public Works may not be the first group that comes to mind. However, we can count on our teams to be ready to protect residents and businesses from potential harm impacting our streets, our roads, and our public right-of-ways. In the first 48 hours of the emergency, our Public Works maintenance crews worked all day and all night, 24 hours a day, to alleviate flooding in our highly impacted neighborhoods, unclog storm drains, and allow for unimpeded rain to flow into our storm drain systems. We helped clear nearly 40 fallen trees from harm's way. We picked up countless amounts of palm fronds spread across our city, and we ensured that our city traffic signals and street lights were operational. We continuously monitored our 23 city-owned pump stations to make sure they were functioning properly, and we addressed any water leaks from our community centers and public facilities. We also had staff, admin staff, that was continuously taking residents' calls and helping to ensure that if there was any flooding, that we would respond within a timely basis. Our preparation, response, and soon to be our recovery efforts could not have been achieved alone. I want to first thank some of my team members, our Deputy Director for Public Works, Josh Hickman, for serving as our Emergency Operations Center liaison and ensuring that communication was reaching all of our field teams. I also want to thank our Public Service Bureau Manager, Mark Wright. Mark served as our department lead for our Public Works Department Operations Center, leading all of our field crews. He and his dedicated team of superintendents truly went beyond the call of duty to make a positive impact. Supporting Mark in his leadership team includes Willie Owens, Daryl G., and Robert Figi, who help manage all of our different teams out there. From our tree crews to our catch basins and storm drain maintenance crews, to our traffic and street light crews, to our clean teams that were out there clearing the public right-of-way of debris. This team truly did lead us through a successful storm event. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to our countless maintenance supervisors, maintenance assistants, and administrative staff who worked overtime, often past midnight and early in the mornings to be dispatched, to help dispatch some of our many crews to calls for service. We are a big city, and we cannot do storm management alone. We cannot deal with crises alone. We really do depend on our residents, and our residents showed up calling in whenever there was a fallen tree or a storm drain that was clogged, and we use that data to respond on a very timely basis. Long term, I look forward to addressing the outstanding infrastructure needs that we have to allow our city to prepare for the next weather events. I'd like to thank our mayor and city council and our who approved our 5-year infrastructure plan that includes improvements to our critical infrastructure that will help us better deal with situations like major storm events. Some of the projects that have been funded as part of our 5-year capital management plan includes an update to our stormwater management plan, an installation of a new trash barge interceptor near the LA River, and various watershed trash capture devices. Now we move on to our post-recovery efforts, beginning with debris pickup. We encourage the public's help by submitting requests for debris pickup online at our Go Long Beach app. And as I conclude, I want to encourage everyone at home that when you see a city employee, especially a public works employee, please thank them. Our employees are truly unsung heroes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Our public works employees are certainly heroes, and they need to be recognized more, and I'm glad that we have some of your leadership in the Public Works Department here with us today. Next, we'll hear from Allison King, Interim Director of our Health Department. That is key. Long Beach is one of 3 jurisdictions in the state of California with its own public health agency. That makes us unique. That's why we're able to respond to crises with local solutions and local boutique approaches like we've done with COVID-19 and homelessness. And in emergencies, we're certainly fortunate to have that local capacity. Allison.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so impressed in hearing all that our city has done to protect residents and property during this record-setting storm. Today, I'm here to speak to the incredible work of our homeless services team. They've done so much to keep people safe over the past week. As you know, last week, for the first time, we opened an inclement weather shelter at the Multi-Service Center. Every time it was particularly cold or rainy, staff transformed the MSC into a shelter, breaking down offices and classroom furniture and setting up beds. And every morning they transformed that shelter back into the MSC. Staff worked double shifts to make sure people could get out of the rain. We continue with the program this year, offering 72 beds. Our normal capacity there is 60, but to meet this need for the storm, for the cold and rainy weather, we expanded that. To give you a sense of what this work really looks like, I'd like to take you behind the scenes. On Monday morning, our homeless services manager, Paul Duncan, alerted the team that we were going to have a need for more space. He wanted to make sure people who were particularly vulnerable could get inside via motel vouchers. Our teams were out in the field, on the riverbed, checking for people. One outreach worker tracked down an elderly gentleman who was sick after sleeping in the rain. Another person requested a room for their client who was deaf and blind. Other requests came in from someone who was newly out of the hospital, as well as an elderly couple that was sleeping in their car. We were able to provide those motel vouchers for those vulnerable families and individuals, and we also provided them with a hot meal and a bed to stay at that MSC. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone in the Homeless Services Bureau. This team already goes above and beyond, but during this storm, they found a new gear. I also want to thank the other departments who played such an important role in keeping people experiencing homelessness safe in this inclement weather, including our fire department for providing swiftwater rescues and additional homelessness outreach along the riverbeds, our police department quality of life team for assisting residents experiencing homelessness with seeking shelter leading up to the storm like this, and our public works for keeping the roads clear, for helping our staff in our respective buildings that had leaks. We appreciate all of you. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to Sandy Wedgeworth from our Public Health Emergency Management, who served as our incident commander during this storm emergency. Thank you, and back to you, Mayor.
All right, so we're incredibly proud of our public servants, our city leadership, the planning, the preparation that was put in place, and this just demonstrates that the response worked as it should. When you prepare, when you invest in the right capacity, when you educate your community, when we work together as a team, the response works and we save lives, and that's what we demonstrated during this emergency. So I want to thank you, and then we're going to pause for interpretation in Spanish and Khmer. Thank you.
All right. Buenas tardes, gracias por acompañarnos. Es importante que nuestra comunidad sepa que la calidad tomó en serio en esta gestión de emergencias. Aunque deseamos que las emergencias no ocurran, en realidad son inevitables, por eso es que debemos de estar preparados. Desde nuestros dirigentes de la ciudad y el equipo de Centro de Operaciones de Emergencia, hasta nuestro equipo de mensaje de incidentes y equipo en el campo, hemos hecho un trabajo increíble que incluye la preparación, la gestión en todo momento y el esfuerzo de la limpieza durante esta tormenta. En los últimos años hemos puesto a prueba una y otra vez, ya sea la pandemia, la amenaza de un huracán y otros fenómenos de clima anormales, como esta tormenta, o grandes desafíos sociales como la falta de vivienda. y hemos aprendido cómo movilizarnos rápidamente para establecer situaciones y apoyar a nuestra comunidad. Hablando de nuestra comunidad, quiero agradecerles a todos ustedes cuando se trata de las condiciones climáticas extremas como en esta tormenta. Tenemos más éxito cuando trabajamos en conjunto. Les pedimos que estuvieran preparados y usted dio un paso al frente. Salió a recoger sus sacos de arenas. Se mantuvo alejado de las carreteras durante los fuertes vientos y lluvias. Y usted ofreció como voluntario para apoyar a los esfuerzos y apoyar a sus vecinos. Se lo agradecemos demasiado. Nuestro equipo de la ciudad también dio un paso al frente para apoyar a nuestra comunidad. Los equipos de rescate rápido en el agua, o swiftwater, de nuestra ciudad estuvieron activos antes y durante la tormenta, mientras patrullaban nuestros canales de inundación y respondieron a otras llamadas de servicio. Una de sus misiones es apoyar y ayudar a las personas sin hogar y a buscar opciones de refugio, adicionalmente para mantenerlas seguras, cálidas y secas. Nuestros botes de rescate de seguridad marina realizaron un papel importante a salvar a 19 personas que quedaron atrapadas fuera del muro de fractura de Long Beach después de un gran velero pérdida de su mástil y chocaron contra las rocas. Este fue un rescate increíble. Nuestros bomberos respondieron la llamada de servicio cuando incluyeron inundaciones de áreas menores, accidentes de tráfico, cables caídos y 2 incendios en 2 edificios, los que mantuvieron todos los peligros que encontraron. El Departamento de Bomberos, en cooperación con el Departamento de Salud y Obras Públicas, activó el estadio de los veteranos de los recursos estuvieron disponibles para apoyar a toda la comunidad. Se seleccionó esta ubicación porque proporcionaron una gran zona que nos permitió ampliar nuestra distribución de sacos de arena y las necesidades. En el transcurso de 3 días, en este lugar hicimos más de 5,000 sacos de arena en este lugar. Nuestro equipo de servicios para personas sin hogar también hicieron un trabajo increíble para mantener a las personas seguras durante la semana pasada. El personal trabajó en turnos dobles para garantizar que las personas pudieran salir de su lluvia y en el centro multiservicio. Ofrecimos 60 camas por noche en climas fríos y lluviosos. Pudimos proporcionar vales de moteles para nuestros clientes, más vulnerables por usar una comida caliente y una cama para las 60 personas que se hospedaron en el centro multiservicio. Quiero agradecer de todo corazón a toda la oficina de servicios para las personas sin hogar, este equipo y más allá, porque se encontró en un nuevo obstáculo durante esta tormenta. No hay duda de que tanto preparación de toda la ciudad como la preparación personal, un papel fundamentalmente en nuestra capacidad para capar esta tormenta histórica. La respuesta oportuna a áreas de toda la ciudad fue clave para evitar que los problemas se pusieran de más chicos a mayores. Esto es un ejemplo de cómo trabajar juntos para servir. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Now we're going to continue with Kamai.
បាទសូមជម្រាបសួរបងប្អូនទាំងអស់គ្នាយើងខ្ញុំចាត់ទុកថានេះគឺជាការសំខាន់មែនទែនដែលបងប្អូនសហគមន៍យើងបានដឹងអំពីការយកចិត្តទុកដាក់បំផុតលើវិធីដោះស្រាយនឹងទប់ទល់នឹងគ្រោះអាសន្ននេះទោះបីជាយើងគ្រប់គ្នាបន់ស្រន់កុំឲ្យមានគ្រោះអាសន្នណាមួយកើតឡើងក៏ដោយតែតាមបាតុភូតធម្មជាតិគឺរឿងបែបនេះយើងមិនអាចជៀសផុតបានទេហើយបានជាយើងត្រូវត្រៀមខ្លួនទប់វាជាប់ជានិច្ចសូមជម្រាបជូនបងប្អូនថាក្រុមការងាររបស់សាលាក្រុងរបស់យើងមានតាំងពីថ្នាក់ដឹកនាំសាលាក្រុងនិងក្រុមមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលបដិបត្តិការគ្រាអាសន្នរហូតដល់ក្រុមដែលចាត់ចែងគ្រប់គ្រងឧបតិហេតុនិងបុគ្គលិកនៅតាមមណ្ឌលសហប្រតិបត្តិការគ្រាអាសន្នរបស់យើងរហូតដល់ក្រុមផ្សេងទៀតគឺយើងបានសហការគ្នាសម្រាប់បានកិច្ចការដ៏អស្ចារ្យនេះបាទកិច្ចការដ៏អស្ចារ្យនេះរួមមានការត្រៀមរៀបចំខ្លួនទុកជាមុននិងចាត់ចែងឲ្យបានល្អដើម្បីសម្អាតទីក្រុងរបស់យើងនៅក្នុងអំឡុងពេលដែលកំពុងមានព្យុះភ្លៀងនៅក្នុងរយៈពេលប្រមាណ ឆ្នាំចុងក្រោយនេះយើងបានធ្វើតេស្តសាកល្បងម្ដងហើយម្ដងទៀតមិនថាតែរឿងជំងឺរាតត្បាតជាសកលគ្រោះគំរាមកំហែងនៃព្យុះកំបុតត្បូងនិងអាកាសធាតុអាក្រក់ដូចជាព្យុះភ្លៀងនេះទេគឺការប្រែប្រួលអាកាសធាតុការប្រែប្រួលសង្គមផ្សេងនេះក៏យើងបានត្រៀមទាំងរឿងអនាថាផងមិនតែប៉ុណ្ណោះយើងបានដកស្រង់បទពិសោធន៍ជាមេរៀនដើម្បីយើងរកវិធីចាត់ចែងកម្លាំងសង្គ្រោះរបស់យើងបានយ៉ាងឆាប់រហ័សដើម្បីសម្របសម្រួលស្ថានភាពឲ្យបានឆាប់ទៅរកសភាពដើមរបស់វានិងការពារគាំពារសហគមន៍របស់យើងនិយាយដល់រឿងសហគមន៍នេះយើងសូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណយ៉ាងជ្រាលជ្រៅដល់បងប្អូនយើងទាំងអស់ដែលឲ្យយើងសហការជាមួយយើងបើយើងប្រឈមនឹងលក្ខខណ្ឌអាកាសធាតុដ៏អាក្រក់បែបនេះក្តីដូចជាព្យុះភ្លៀងនេះគឺយើងតែងតែយកឈ្នះទៅលើស្ថានភាពអាក្រក់ដែលយើងស្រាក់ដៃគ្នាជួយដោះស្រាយបញ្ហាបានជោគជ័យយើងខ្ញុំបានស្នើសុំឲ្យបងប្អូនត្រៀមខ្លួនបងប្អូនក៏ត្រៀមខ្លួនបងប្អូននាំគ្នាចេញមកយកបាវខ្សាច់បងប្អូនដឹងទាំងអស់គ្នាហើយថាយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាបាននាំគ្នាជួយកាត់បន្ថយការធ្វើដំណើរតាមផ្លូវនៅពេលដែលកំពុងតែខ្យល់ខ្លាំងនិងភ្លៀងដូចជាហែកមេឃនេះមិនតែប៉ុណ្ណោះបងប្អូនស្ម័គ្រចិត្តជួយដល់កិច្ចការងាររបស់យើងហើយជួយដល់អ្នកភូមិផងរបងជាមួយយើងផងទៀតយើងខ្ញុំសូមកោតសរសើរនិងដឹងគុណចំពោះកាយវិការដ៏ល្អនេះក្រុមការងាររបស់សាលាក្រុងយើងក៏បានប្រឹងប្រែងអស់ពីកម្លាំងកាយចិត្តដើម្បីជួយដល់សហគមន៍របស់យើងក្រុមការងាររបស់យើងគឺធ្វើការសង្គ្រោះករណីទឹកហូរខ្លាំងនៅក្នុងសាលាក្រុងហើយក៏បានដាក់ពង្រាយកម្លាំងរបស់ខ្លួនទៅទាំងមុននិងនៅក្នុងអំឡុងពេលដែលមានព្យុះខ្លាំងនៅក្នុងទីក្រុងឡុងបេរបស់យើងដោយពួកគាត់ចុះល្បាតតាមច្រកដែលមានទឹកជន់លិចហើយឆ្លើយតបទៅតាមសំណូមពររបស់បងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋរបស់យើងបេសកកម្មសំខាន់មួយនៅក្នុងចំណោមរឿងសំខាន់ជាច្រើនទៀតរបស់ពួកគាត់គឺគាំពៀនឹងជួយបងប្អូនយើងទាំងអស់ដែលកំពុងតែរស់នៅក្នុងស្ថានភាពអនាថាឲ្យដែលគ្មានទីជម្រកស្នាក់នៅឲ្យបានទីជម្រកស្នាក់នៅត្រឹមត្រូវដើម្បីជួយពួកគាត់ទៅរកទីកន្លែងស្នាក់នៅបណ្ដោះអាសន្នសមរម្យនិងមានសុវត្ថិភាពមានភាពកក់ក្ដៅនិងមិនទៅទឹកភ្លៀងជាពិសេសនៅក្នុងស្ថានភាពដ៏លំបាកបែបនេះកងកប៉ាល់សមុទ្រឯនោះវិញនៅឯផ្ទៃសមុទ្ររបស់យើងក៏ដុតដៃដុតជើងគាត់បានបំពេញតួនាទីយ៉ាងសំខាន់បំផុតរបស់ពួកគាត់បានសង្គ្រោះមនុស្ស11នាក់ដែលជាប់គាំងនឹងព្យុះភ្លៀងនៅក្នុងសមុទ្រដោយសារតែទូករបស់ពួកគាត់របូតក្តោងហើយបាក់បោកតាមព្យុះទៅដល់ច្រាំងថ្មការសង្គ្រោះនេះគឺជាព្រឹត្តិការណ៍ដ៏អស្ចារ្យមួយដែរចំណែកឯមន្ត្រីពន្លត់អគ្គិភ័យរបស់យើងឯនោះវិញពួកគាត់បានឆ្លើយតបទៅតាមសំណូមពរសុំជំនួយពីប្រជាពលរដ្ឋទាំងនៅម្ដុំកន្លែងដែលជន់លិចតិចតួចបញ្ហាគ្រោះថ្នាក់ចរាចរណ៍ខ្សែភ្លើងដាច់ធ្លាក់តាមផ្លូវរយាយរយ៉ាយនិងភ្លើងឆេះនៅឯសំណង់ពីរកន្លែងដែលពួកគាត់បានជួយសង្គ្រោះមនុស្សឲ្យរួចផុតពីគ្រោះភ័យនោះផងដែរបាទនាយកដ្ឋានពលរដ្ឋអគ្គិភ័យចាប់ដៃគ្នាជាមួយនឹងនាយកដ្ឋានសុខាភិបាលសាធារណៈនិងសាធារណការដោយរៀបចំឲ្យមានកីឡាដ្ឋានអតីតយុវជនយុទ្ធជនដើម្បីត្រៀមកន្លែងសង្គ្រោះសម្រាប់ជួយបងប្អូនសហគមន៍ដែលត្រូវការកន្លែងនោះបាទការដែលរើសកន្លែងនេះគឺដោយសារតែយើងដឹងថាកន្លែងនោះធំទូលាយដែលមានអាចបើកឡានចេញចូលបានសម្រាប់ការដឹកសាច់ដែលច្រកបាវរួចទៅជូនបងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋដែលត្រូវការជាចាំបាច់មកនៅក្នុងរយៈពេល3ថ្ងៃតែគ្រាន់តែនៅក្នុងទីតាំងមួយនេះមានបាវខ្សាច់ចំនួនដល់ទៅ 5000 បាវឯណោះដែលបងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋយើងមកយកទៅតាមត្រូវការនោះរីឯក្រុមសេវាជនអនាថារបស់យើងឯណោះវិញពួកគាត់បានបំពេញកិច្ចការនេះដ៏អស្ចារ្យដែរនៅក្នុងការជួយធ្វើឲ្យបងប្អូនយើងមានសុវត្ថិភាពនៅក្នុងសប្តាហ៍ដែលកំពុងតែមានភ្លៀងធ្លាក់ជន់ជោនេះបាទបុគ្គលិករបស់យើងធ្វើការពីរវេនដើម្បីធ្វើយ៉ាងណាបងប្អូនយើងមានសុវត្ថិភាពនៅពេលដែលមេឃកំពុងតែភ្លៀងខ្លាំងឯមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលពហុសេវារបស់យើងក៏មិនមានតែទឹកភ្លៀងយើងបានផ្ដល់ជូនគ្រែស្នាក់នៅបណ្ដោះអាសន្នបន្ថែមចំនួន40គ្រែ60គ្រែទៀតនៅក្នុងមួយយប់នៅក្នុងស្ថានភាពអាកាសធាតុត្រជាក់និងមានធ្លាក់មិនដាច់នេះយើងក៏បានផ្ដល់ប័ណ្ណធានាស្នាក់នៅបណ្ដោះអាសន្នទៅតាមផ្ទះសំណាក់សម្រាប់បងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋយើងដែលងាយនឹងរងគ្រោះនិងផ្ដល់សេវាអាហារក្តៅគ្រែសម្រាននិងសម្រាប់មនុស្ស60នាក់ដែលស្នាក់នៅក្នុងមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលពហុសេវារបស់យើងបាទឆ្លៀតឱកាសនេះដែរខ្ញុំសូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណយ៉ាងជ្រាលជ្រៅដល់បងប្អូនយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាដែលបម្រើការនៅការិយាល័យជនអនាថាសូមកោតសរសើរបងប្អូនព្រោះក្រុមការងាររបស់បងប្អូនបានប្រឹងដុតដៃដុតជើងនិងធ្វើការអស់ពីកម្លាំងកាយចិត្តដើម្បីធ្វើការងារនេះតាំងពីមុនមានព្យុះភ្លៀងរហូតដល់មានព្យុះភ្លៀងកើតឡើងក៏ប៉ុន្តែពេលព្យុះមកដល់បងប្អូនបង្ហាញឲ្យឃើញការងារនឹងកាន់តែអស្ចារ្យជាងនេះតទៅទៀតបាទដូច្នេះយើងខ្ញុំអត់មានអ្វីឆ្ងល់ទេគឺការត្រៀមខ្លួនរបស់មន្ត្រីអគ្គនាយកដ្ឋានទាំងភាគីពាក់ព័ន្ធរបស់សាលាក្រុងនិងការត្រៀមខ្លួនរបស់បងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋយើងម្នាក់ទាំងអស់នោះគឺសុទ្ធតែរួមចំណែកគ្នាយ៉ាងសំខាន់នៅក្នុងការដែលយើងមានលទ្ធភាពទប់ទល់នឹងអាកាសធាតុព្យុះភ្លៀងដែលជាប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រនៅក្នុងទីក្រុងឡុងបិចរបស់យើងនេះការដែលឆ្លើយតបទាន់ពេលវេលានៅទូទាំងទីក្រុងរបស់យើងគឺជាការសំខាន់នៅក្នុងការបង្ហាញឲ្យឃើញអំពីបញ្ហាតូចៗជាច្រើនដែលជាចំហាយឆ្លើយคล้ายចេញពីស្ថានភាពអាក្រក់ធំនោះហើយយើងអាចទប់ទល់បាននេះសបញ្ជាក់ឲ្យឃើញអំពីគំរូភាពនៃការសាមគ្គីដើម្បីបម្រើប្រជាពលរដ្ឋនៅក្នុងសហគមន៍របស់យើងបាទសូមអរគុណ